All right, boys and girls, here we are. Today we're going to use our interactive notes so that I can tell about life in colonial Virginia. And I know I'll have it when I can describe the food, housing, clothing, and daily activities of people living in colonial Virginia. So today we're going to complete our everyday living note page. So go ahead and turn to that in your binder. All right, so remember our rules again, boys and girls. If it is bold and underlined, you're going to add that to your note page, okay? So, people living in colonial Virginia depended on natural, human, and capital resources to produce the goods and services they needed. So, what are these resources? Natural resources are things people use that they find in nature, for example, like apples. Human resources are people who work and provide a good or service, like a baker. And capital resources are tools people use to make another product. Okay, now natural, human, and capital resources, I know those are bolded and underlined, but you do not have to add those to your notes. You're only adding natural, colonial, natural, human, capital, goods, and services to the top of your page. Okay, now let's talk about the food. Food choices in colonial were limited. They didn't have Walmart or Kroger's or Food Line to go out and buy their food, so they had to use what was available to them. Meals were made of local produce and meats that they were able to get from the animals that they raised or wild animals that they would hunt. Okay. Housing. Most people lived in one-room houses with dirt floors. Some people, like really wealthy farmers, lived in large houses, but that was very, very few. Clothing, households made their own clothes. They weren't able to go to Walmart or Belk or Maurice's or Marshall's to buy their clothes. They made them. So most clothing was made of cotton, wool, and or leather. So if you look at the pig and the cow here, what do you think you might get from a pig or a cow? Would you get cotton, wool, or leather from those animals? Yeah, you would get leather. Here, I see a cotton plant. If you look very closely, you could see white balls. That's exactly right. That's where they would get their cotton. And sheep, they would raise sheep and cut wool from them. So that's where they got the materials to make their clothing. Most white Virginians made their living from the land as small farmers. A few owned large farms called plantations. Most enslaved African Americans worked tobacco, other crops, and livestock or animals. Enslaved African Americans had no rights. They could not vote. They had no rights of their own at this time.